the Bitcoin. Good morning, everybody. It's going to be a different time for some people, different people in the world. Get an extra
Morning,
hour
all.
in bed when this changes. So it's 8 a.m. now, which means I'm 3 times more handsome than what I am at 7 a.m.
Fair enough, fair enough.
All right, Maurizio. So there is a lot of excitement. There is a lot that's going on. So I've got a little bit of the Bitcoin gibber to start off
Yep.
with, and then I'll get this nuclear football over to you pretty quickly. So I've zoomed right out for the moment just to say that I could make these lines a lot tidier, a lot closer together, and I could also do them in a lot of other uh, places as well. Just try and
Mm-hmm.
keep the charts clean. The point being, if we look at where we were there in 2022 and we look 2 years later, well, I believe without inventing something that what I'm seeing here is that Bitcoin goes into a price discovery, it pulls back, it accumulates, and more often than not, it has a downside deviation before it then continues. And we can see that repeated. Now, when we get this breakout here and then a very short consolidation period and then another leg up. Well, wow, I mean, we really paid for it then, didn't we? We were just
Mm-hmm.
in this, and then again, and then we're seeing this same behavior again. Now, you've been saying about that Bitcoin's now a different kind of Bitcoin because the institutions are involved and there's more and more institutions that are getting involved, and obviously there's the clinging to the 4 year cycle, and then there's the what's happening in front of us. It's like I'm sure that a guy at BlackRock is not in an office this morning going, "This fucking 4 year cycle's about to end, boys. It's panic time." It's like they don't care about that 4 year cycle. So let's just forget that. It's like all bets are off with that. And what I mean by all bets is if we go back historically, well, it's all been over by now. And it previously, 30 days before that, it was all over. So we know that we're extending. We know that the market is maturing. But the amount of volatility that's come out of the market has made Bitcoin, well, let's just say like unexciting. It doesn't have those, those type of moments, and can't read the future, but I don't see this changing. I just see more and more institutions getting on board, which should mean a shallower kind of bull market as well. Like whether we get the average kind of 60-70% bull market, kind of who knows. But anyway, my last point, and there's not really a direct question here, Maurizio. There's just a bunch of shit I've been thinking about over the weekend. So
Fair enough.
my last little bit, right, is I want to zoom in on one of these accumulation ranges, right? And try and just offer a different kind of picture. So if we try and think what's actually happening to human beings whilst this is going on, well, yeah, there's capitulation, people are just giving up. If anybody looks at any like Glassnode metrics, or if you're in Glassnode's Telegram metrics, they send you just like, a handful of metrics a day that are interesting around Bitcoin, who it is that's actually selling the Bitcoin, who's giving up on the Bitcoin, what long-term Bitcoin holders are doing. So I find that interesting more than it guiding my trading. But trying to get back to what I was saying here, right? What is actually happening here? And this is what I think that's happening. And this is the last thing that I'll say. And I'll do it as a poker metaphor, right? The biggest mistake that new poker players make is they play too many hands. That's it. They just want to play. Okay. Now, a good poker player could beat a poker player that plays too many hands by simply playing less hands. just sitting there and playing less hands and just playing the strongest hands. And over a long enough period of time, that player will win, stand fast any volatility. That's why we say over a long enough period of time. And that's what I see happening here. Wherever
Mm.
retail buys, the institutions are just like, right, we got all the fucking time in the world. We can just grind this out cent by cent by cent until you give up, until you sell it, until you. And that's just this continual repeated behavior that I believe I'm seeing. So other than that, we're in a range. That's it. Let's all go home. We're in a range. If we break out, woo!
We've been saying that for the last month or so. But on that, I want to add what you just said, Ian, because obviously, you mentioned institution, you mentioned retail, and in order for institutional traders to exit, they need liquidity, and usually that liquidity comes from retails buying the top and things like that. That's kind of the dynamics, right? Sometimes market just keeps moving up, but then you spot on playing too much is kind of a mistake. If you know how to play when the time is right, I think is much more reliable. It's just holding off, having the patience to it, and that's the problem, right? Sometimes I fall into it, right? Like it's just hard, seeing the market moves and not getting into a trade or things like that. But it is spot on, man.
It's like I heard another little phrase the other day. Again, it's so simple, but it's like this market, the impatient pay the patient. And that's the way it
Mm-hmm.
works,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, which are you? And can you be honest about it? And if you can probably start doing better with those decisions
Mm-hmm.
about trading, because that's what it comes down to. It comes down to making a decision without having concrete information. Like you look at that open interest, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, there's a million things that could happen here, but it's not concrete. And yeah, yeah. Whereas institutions, well, Scott said it before, there's guys that turn up for work and it's like, right, this is your pattern, Maurizio. Don't fucking miss
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yep, it is. It becomes sort of the market is emotional. You have to detach from that, I guess, and that's kind of the toughest thing to do in order to be a trader, right? Like detach your emotions from what you're seeing or what you think is going to happen. I think that's the biggest mistake. Thinking what is going to happen
Hmm.
blocks your reading abilities. You know what I mean? In terms of, you're looking at the chart and you see, oh no, this is going up, this is going up, this is going up. You think that is going up, but the chart is telling you it's not, it's not, it's not.
Hmm.
Then, that's one of those things to it's tough, man. It is the trading game. That's how it is.
It is, yeah, yeah, So a really good kind of mental model that I found to help me a lot is a better understanding of expected value. Some basic calculations, but just a general better understanding, of it. And then I use manual stop losses quite often, but I'll still plan what my stop loss is, and I'm generally taking higher time frame trades, so I'm not in that kind of panic, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But
And that's actually,
yeah.
that's why spot, difference between a spot and leverage traders. You know what I mean? That's why it's different. Because obviously, if you do long-term stuff, spot will be the best way to go, but you have to wait a long time to actually get those profits. For leverage, you could have, trades within
Mm,
an hour, but then you can lose it within an hour as well. So you have to be, you know, aware of those two situations, right? So yeah.
they have to be, yeah. So as for an alt season, I'm still until somebody gives me something better, until I'm still going by that altcoin dominance. Now, I know I haven't got the chart up, but that altcoin dominance has confirmed that it's in a macro downtrend. It's rejected from levels, I think 62 and 60, and we're around the kind of 59, you know? And it's that capitulation historically. It's that capitulation that brings about a an alt season. But then will Bitcoin just grind down in the way that it's ground up? And then what effect would that have on Bitcoin dominance and the altcoin season? But then on the other side of that coin, right? If I'm looking at the market thinking, well, Bitcoin's just fucking boring now, it's just a long-term hold. I want the get rich. Well, then that gives alts the day in the sun with that type of attitude. But it's like, yeah, yeah, cloudy, man. I started this cycle fucking like, right, the 4 year cycle, easy, you know? And
Yeah.
now I'm like, well, fuck knows, you know?
And one of those things that's when you think about 4 years is not enough data to, and then the problem with those things is that the more people they know it, the less it's going to work. That's basically about any trading
Yeah.
edge that you know, because
I've got an
obviously
edge, but everybody knows it. It's still an edge.
exactly. So this you know, so that's the toughest thing. So obviously, you know, keep developing new strategies. That's why we keep doing it, right? Because there's
Mhm.
no strategy that's gonna last forever, man. Unfortunately, market changes, bias changes. A lot of people will get, uh, you know, they'll understand better, and they'll say, "Oh, okay, now we have the fourth cycle. Let's play that
Mhm.
game." And now
Mhm.
that game doesn't work anymore. You know what I mean? So it's a tough game. It's a tough game.
Is it?
So the only thing that I can say is like, you know, the only thing that it's always sort of been in my mind is always think about what are people willing to pay for an asset, and then think about it from that perspective, right? And whatever price any asset is at, right? If you know people are willing to pay for it, market's gonna go
Mhm.
up. If people are not willing to pay for it, market's gonna go down. So you know that's why I love going short, going long, and play that game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But the long term game is tough because things could change at any moment, right? You know, so
They could change at any moment, but I'll tell you what's really on my radar. That's getting a better understanding of the Genius Act and stable coins and its effect on crypto. I mean, they want to tokenize. Well, the Genius Act does tokenize everything. There's things that you'll be able to trade that you could never trade before. And they're talking like I don't know, trillions and trillions added to the market cap. You
mm,
know, I've got more reading uh, to do on it, but the Genius Act that is like, well, boom, there's going to be boom, all of this money in crypto. You know,
yeah. The problem is that going to be, where is it gonna go? To which assets? That's the trickiest bit. You know what I mean? Because obviously, I don't think it's going to go. There's so many tokens. Like we're doing some work last week in terms of analysis. Fucking Binance, we have 508 PEPs, perpetual coins, right? 508, right? And it's increasing on a daily basis, right? So that new project's coming along. I do believe definitely is going to be a moment in where you know a lot of liquidity is going to be concentrated in certain projects and stuff like that. But you know, yeah, in order to have those moments, those altcoin explosions that we had before across all altcoins, you're gonna require a lot of cash, a lot of liquidity in order to that happen. You know what I mean? That's kind of my, could be completely wrong. That and like I say, like this is something that, but you look at evidence and you see, man, you know what I mean? Like it's less, you know, you see those pumps and dumps, right? Yeah, you know, and things like that. Yeah, that's gonna keep happening, man. You know, liquidity is gonna just jump from one coin to another coin and another coin, and 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 let's see
because
what happens.
with that influx for the you know, this Genius Act, well, I see that as a nice steady growth for the market because
Yeah,
Everything would
definitely.
just be being used all the time. And then it was NFTs were cool at one point. Meme coins were cool at the start. I think we'll still have these gamble options that will turn up that we don't know about. But yeah, it could be slow and steady. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So obviously
There we go.
don't have much as well. Like let me just share my screen, and the reason why is just because obviously. So we were talking about let's go through what I'm seeing in Bitcoin and stuff that I'm watching. So this is basically last week's, right? This is all the stuff that we saw last week. We were talking about the range, right? We were talking about the range. We drew this line here, very important line. And funny enough, market bounce and bounce here. So we are in a range. Middle of the range is about 110, 700, give or take. Even the 1200. This. So obviously that's where we at. When are we going to break this range? Who knows? Can this range be sustainable, right? In the long term, I do believe so. Because obviously, ranges are used to accumulate sometimes. So there's a few setups that we can start looking into, if this level is going to hold. So this was on the 30th of October, right? This week down. And I was noting that obviously, end of the month, there is a lot of rebalancing that happens at the end of the month and at the beginning of the month. So with that being said, expect today, tomorrow, at least this week, to be a little bit volatile. Why? Because we just entered a brand new month. So today is the first day of the month that institutions will be able to trade. If we let's look at this from the monthly perspective first. So from the monthly perspective, I think last week, this month looked much better. I don't know if you guys remember. Should have taken a screenshot. And the monthly looked much better, but now the month actually closed a little bit to the bearish, but we're still within that range, right? Within one, like from July, technically. Now, from June, right? So this has been an accumulation sort of deal. Is this basically fighting the price, right? What's cheap and what's expensive in a way, right? What people are willing to pay for Bitcoin. That's basically what this game is all about. Is 109, like if we look at the weekly, let's have a look at the weekly. Weekly looks pretty good. Still, bouncing from this value range sort of deal. So it looks pretty good as long from the weekly perspective, we hold those levels. We're still on a bullish sort of scenario. You start breaking this, right? Even if you start retesting the 100,000, that could be, one of those things to be aware of, that we can start losing a little bit more momentum and we can start entering into sort of an accumulation range around the 900 to 98,000, give or take. So for instance, how would you feel if Bitcoin drops all the way down to 100? Is that a good thing? Do you guys think is good? Is bad? Is cheap? Is you know what I mean? Like I just want to see your what do you guys think from that perspective? If within this week, Bitcoin drops all the way down to 100. All right, you guys see support, buy some, buy an opportunity, buy opportunity. Good. So I think from that perspective, and let me just ask you now the other question. What do you guys think if Bitcoin breaks tomorrow 117,000, give or take? So we break this level and it goes to 117. Do you think is same thing? You're gonna have the same feeling? All right. So you guys wait, caution. Okay. All right, so this is an interesting perspective, and obviously, from now it's gonna okay, fair enough. So this is when you start, figuring out what's cheap and what's not, what's expensive. So obviously, from that perspective, what I gather from your responses technically, if market goes all the way up to 117, seems to be a little more expensive. 100K could be like the price action that they were looking for, that kind of opportunity to buy. And what do you guys think if market keeps moving down? Let's say if it goes down to, I'm watching this level closely as well, and I'll tell you why. Around the 90,000, 93,000. So breaks down 100K and then it starts going down to 90. Buy some, okay? Perfect. So from the Bitcoin perspective, definitely, I do see that this asset is going to appreciate more in value, right? So the problem is to find out what's going to be that level of support. Where is people are going to willing to buy, right? So obviously, at the moment, we're in a range, okay? So technically, take it from that perspective, we are in a range. We know that already. So essentially, I would not do any trading about like in the middle of the range. I'll expect to do trading below the range or on the range to figure out if that range is going to hold. So essentially that happened here, right? On Thursday of October, I did not do anything. And the reason why is still end of the month stuff, right? End of the month, beginning of the month, I'm going to wait a couple of days to see where the price is going to go, right? Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of volatility around. So that's kind of, if this price action would happen, probably, 15 days before the end of the month, definitely I would have taken that trade, right? I would have taken that, targeting the range high right here, right? But as a trade, not as a long-term sort of portfolio spot holding, okay? So that's kind of something that I'm watching closely in terms of Bitcoin. So let's see how this level holds, especially for the next 3 days. We are at the beginning of the month and usually takes a few days to we have a few things on like today. So we have end of the week, end of the month. So it's going to be a lot of rebalancing happening up and down, up and down, up and down. And then probably towards the end of the week, we're going to start seeing a little bit more directionality, right? Ideally, what I want to see, right, is if we get something like this, lose my, always lose my brush. Right here. All right. If we get something like this, especially around these levels, so these levels are really interesting here because this is the crash that we sort of had, and if we get something among these lines like this, then that would be a very, very interesting level if we get it. I'm not saying that we're going to get it, but then essentially I'm planning what will the price action that I'm looking for in order to actually enter trades, right? That's kind of planning, right? It's also how we plan this, short. Don't know if you guys took it or not, but obviously I'm just staying away of shorts at the moment. Just, I know you guys don't know how to do many shorts, so that's why I don't. But that would be a beautiful short, right? Beautiful short from here, right? Stop loss probably around here, and then take profits around sort of middle of the range or towards there. That's it. Big trade. Now, I'll be looking for longs either at this level here or either below these levels here, right? So how do you know if we do have sort of buying opportunities around here? Can you guys see the chart?
Yeah, we can, man.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I think Brett.
Try switch a window, Brett.
All right. So like I mentioned before, then we go to our CVD and see how this actually looks like in terms of where the buyers are buying, especially spot, right? So what we can see is that what happened around on the 31st, it looks like spot buyers were coming in heavy, right? And obviously you will not know that until the price action has developed. And how do you know? Because obviously you start seeing CVD volume coming in here, right? And then obviously price action maintained that level, right? So that means that spot buyers are not selling, okay? Now, in here, right? So obviously this is over the weekend price action, and we have price. This is quite tough to read over the weekend, right? Because it's a lot of low liquidity that happens over the weekend. So, but what I'm seeing here is that obviously we do have some buyers at this level here, right? So I'm not gonna go long blindly today, especially I know there's there's a lot of volatility that it could happen today, especially first day of the month, and a lot of rebalances and things that it will happen. So, but I'll be really aware of these levels around here. If we start dropping below, what I will see is if we start getting new buyers around this 106 area, that could be a really interesting price to actually get long again. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. So in terms of if that happens, then I'm going to start looking into alts heavily, right? To figure out some good trends in terms of alts. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's nothing much, to be honest. There's still the same game plan that we had for the last week. So that's in terms of Bitcoin. In terms of Ethereum, so Ethereum, let's have a look at Ethereum. Okay, so let's start having a look from the monthly perspective, right? So Ethereum, right? Now we have a new month, and it looks a little bit better because obviously we closed above this upside break. So we close above that break. So that's actually pretty interesting price action, right? That we can actually see that price actually is holding that level. And that level is the one that we drew a while back, right? We were watching that level since, yeah, this is the one that I've been watching closely. And we have 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks that we haven't been able to actually break that level, right? Now, that doesn't mean we're going to break it. What it means at the moment is that this level is a really strong support, okay? You can actually see that this could be the bottom. This could be, okay? Is it going to be the bottom? Who knows, right? Because the problem is if we start seeing a lot of selling, this could actually trigger all the way down here around the 3,200 level. And that's going to be a really painful, especially for alts, okay? So that's kind of what I'm watching closely, because I don't know if it's going to hold. It looks like it's going to hold, but I don't have a crystal ball to say, this is the level to buy right now, go in, but it looks pretty supportive. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? And a monthly close above this level. So it's getting stronger, right? It's getting stronger as a support. Let me just draw a box right there. Give me 1 second. So this level here, very, 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 very important from the weekly perspective, right? Now we come down on a daily time frame, right? And we can actually start seeing, that people are willing to buy at this level, but the downside is that the lows are getting lower. You know what I mean? That doesn't give me a lot of, sometimes with bull markets, think about it from the perspective in terms of price action. This one right here, if a lot of people are looking at this level here, if you see a front run, like if you see, oh, you know what, I'm going to buy before it hits the level, that means that people are willing to buy before the level hits. Therefore, you know, people are willing to say, okay, I really like it. This is a really good price to buy, right? On bull markets, every front running, like, you know, every low that gets higher than the lowest, the previous low, it looks like a pretty bullish price action. In the other hand, you know, if we have a low that actually, you know, goes below the lows, is kind of like, you know, you get stop losses around here. Maybe it's just a mechanics, but that what that means is actually people are not willing to buy any longer at these levels. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of a little bit of psychology of markets. You know, and that's how you actually could read it from the price action perspective. So this is what I'm seeing from the daily perspective. So now, and the problem though is that if we start losing momentum on Bitcoin, Ethereum is going to go a little bit lower. Like it doesn't look strong whatsoever, right? If you have a look at Ethereum against Bitcoin, definitely Bitcoin now looks like it's going to start gaining momentum, right? So, you know, this is the chart that we had a while back that in this moment when Ethereum started breaking above, this is when Ethereum shined. Now you can actually see that it starts sort of grinding down, right? So and you can match it with the open interest and volume. So if we have a look at what we see here, okay, right? Okay. Positive side, we do have a lot of CBD coming through, but when like this volume came in at the 1st of November, this is actually, you know, after the month close, but this is over the weekend price action sort of view. And it's these institutions, it's this retail, who knows, but then it's over the weekend stuff, right? So have that in mind. I don't trust it. I hope that we definitely hold this level here, because otherwise, you know, I think Ethereum is going to hurt, you know what I mean, like drop a lot. And if it does, then my next level to buy will be 3,200, 3,300, give or take. So I'm watching this very, very closely. If this is obviously at this moment, you have to have the two biased. You know, you can't actually be fully long, you can't actually be fully short. You have to be aware of the two possibilities. Are we going long or are we going short? And perhaps if you know how to short the market, you can actually capitalize on that, right? So that's something that I'm watching really, really closely. So within the next 3 days, right, what I want to see is definitely I want to see these levels hold and CBD volume coming, yeah, keep going up, right? And then probably if we start reclaiming the 4,000, then that will be a difference. So then I'm still, you know, I don't see a lot of strength on Ethereum at the moment, right? That could be matched, you know, you guys have seen this one, you know, something that you can watch on a daily basis. And the Ethereum validator queue gives you a really good sort of idea where the strength of Ethereum is about, and this is basically, you know, a tracker that actually tracks what, you know, stakes on Ethereum, people that are staking Ethereum and people that are unstaking. And, you know, you see the entries and the exits. So the entries, right, are people that are staking, exits are people that are unstaking. So this is kind of, if you're looking for the last 30 days, right, is, you know, there's more unstakers than stakers, you know, so obviously that gives me a, you know what I mean? What I want to see is something like this right here. This, what I want to see is I want to see more stakers than unstakers to have a full like, you know, not confidence, because you can't actually have confidence in the markets. You know, a little bit more knowing what spot buyers are doing. You know, when spot buyers stake, then say, you know, we'll expect that the price is going to go up, right? So yeah, this is an interesting side that you can actually look into it. I look at it on a daily basis, so I know where strength is at. So yeah, unfortunately, that's basically what I'm seeing at the moment, right? It doesn't look strong, right? Unless we start seeing a little bit more better price action, right? But then obviously that's kind of what I'm saying at the moment. So that's in terms of the majors, man. Like BNB, funny enough, is holding okay-ish. It's not doing great, but it's holding this level here, right? Solana, where are you, Solana?
Isn't there
Solana's,
a Sol ETF? Is it that's just gone live?
yes. So, but it's not a lot of action yet on this one, right? So I'm watching this one closely, but you can see that nothing's happening, right? Even though, you got the ETF, you get everything, and it's not buying. There's no one buying this thing yet. Okay, I'm not
Right.
saying, yet. I'm be really aware of that, because with crypto, things change in 1 minute. As simple as that. A big order comes in, and then the market just changes direction dramatically, right? So that's kind of that's why it's good, right? The volatility. But then this is kind of something that I'm watching really, really closely. So yeah, if we, yeah, if you look at the spaghetti charts, let me just go a little bit, from
I
the
have a quick
crash.
question about the spaghetti charts to do
Yes.
with setup. So
Yep.
if anybody wanted to set these up themselves, well, they would
Yep.
need the TradingView program so they could get 8 screens, or they could open multiple windows. And broadly speaking, what you're doing here is listing the top market caps from each of the sectors, which you could get freely from, say, CoinGecko. Would that be, broadly speaking, right?
Um, Broadly speaking, yes, that's one way of doing it. I don't care about the market caps, to be honest, because obviously I just care about, like, all the stuff that is here. I put it manually because at some point either it went crazy and I just want to measure strength, or there is a lot of um, narratives coming through. You know what I mean? So obviously this is a manual thing that I do in terms of the stuff that I put in here. But that's, it's not market cap related, but you could do market cap as well. You know what I mean? Like to measure strength. That's definitely,
Okay. So,
that's actually a pretty good idea. But this is, something that I classify in terms of what is like layer one high caps, Ethereum betas that are actually sort of, narratives, something that it could do well, something that it could not do well. So I just want to measure the strength related to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we know, like, for instance, if you want to play the Ethereum game, right? Once the order of ideas in terms of strength is that we want to see that Ethereum is stronger than Bitcoin, number one. So you will visualize that Ethereum is actually stronger than Bitcoin, right? And number two, if you want to play the Ethereum betas, then you need to know, this is a really good way to know which Ethereum beta is actually stronger than Ethereum. And that's the one that you want to play.
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, because this is how I read this chart. So obviously,
And that's replicable across every chart.
exactly. So let's talk about, and this one here, the first one is something that I put on in terms of I put this the S&P 500, so I can measure the S&P 500 performance as a benchmark, right? And then here are my majors. So you got Bitcoin, you got Ethereum, you got Solana. Should add BNB here, and you got stuff that I'm watching, fucking Bitcoin and Hype, like very things that I'm watching that I think it could do well. So that's why Hype is high on the list here. It's outperforming pretty much everything. You know what I mean? So that's why I think Hype could do pretty well, pretty well.
Gotcha.
So this is how you can actually play it, right? And you can use different time frames, right? So it's different, so many different ways to use this if you want to do long term, or you want to do a scalping, or you want to do things, you know, you play with the time frames. And just here's, I'll give you a really good strategy, right? That when, like, you can put this in 3 minutes or 1 minute even, and then when you do have crashes on Bitcoin, right, and then you leave this on 3 minutes, you will see the ones that actually perform the most, like the ones that bounce the hardest, and you can scalp those things out, and more than likely you're gonna gain, you know, they might not sustain that price, but then what that means is that they're bouncing hard and you can actually capitalize on that. So yeah, that's a lot of different strategies in order how to use the. But in terms of how to use it here in 100x is actually to get position a little bit better in terms of what's the strongest and what's the sector that is performing the best, right? So obviously, by looking at this, right, immediately, the thing that I'm seeing is that all the Ethereum betas are shit, right? Probably L1s could be, you know, a little bit better. What else? Memes are shit. All Bitcoin stuff, except these two, are doing well. But you will notice that when the market is hot, everything is going to get stronger than Bitcoin. So this is one of the metrics as well. Very, very good metrics that you can actually use. So yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's it, man. In terms of the majors, obviously this is the first day of the month. Take it easy, man. I wouldn't get positioned crazily. Let's talk about the stuff that I'm watching. Watching Asta. So it's been an interesting price action. And then CC actually posted that it's buying Asta with its own money. So probably that's why you get this influx of, and I've been watching Asta for a while. We still hold Asta on spot. So this could be an interesting one to watch, right? This one is actually holding pretty good, right? Well, it wasn't. This is the flush that we had, right? And this is the level here, right? So it had this sort of deviation, and then CC just tweeted probably around here. That's why you get this influx. So what I want to see is this level to hold, and that could be an add-on on the spot portfolio. I think I'm going to add more on Asta, definitely. So that's the one that I'm watching closely. Obviously Tau. So I know you guys, I don't know, you guys took the trade that Scott sent on Tau. Tau is actually doing pretty good. And, you know, if you, like, I still want to get position on this one. So this one could actually do pretty well. I'm looking probably around this area right here, around the 440. If we do get a little bit of a flush, that could be a really interesting price to get position again. But if you look at Tau from the weekly perspective, we are breaking. So this consolidation area right here looks pretty interesting here, and we look, it looks like we're breaking. So it looks like we're going to have a lot of volatility around here. But once we break, then the next target could be all-time highs, which is around the 800. That gives probably, you know, 2x reward, give or take. Yeah, about 62, so 900. So probably, you know, this is one of the things that it could do pretty well. But this is the one that I want to be focusing on. So this definitely seems to be the strongest ecosystem that there is out there. Okay, and I did talk about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So something to watch, right, is you can go to CoinGecko, and, you know, in categories you can see BitSensor ecosystem. Obviously, all this stuff is the tokens that might be and might not be on the exchanges. So have that in mind, right? But then this is kind of where the attention is going. So I will expect that either like, you know, a lot of these things will go crazy. This is kind of a gambling thing. There's a lot of projects that are shit, but I'll be doing a little bit more research this week around this, and this seems like where the liquidity is heading. So this is where we can perhaps focus a little bit more of the attention, but then have in mind that this is a lot of on-chain stuff that is low liquidity, you know, so very, very small market caps on some of these ones, for instance. That's why they move quick. So that's just an idea, right, in terms of what we can capitalize on this week. So yeah. Another one that I'm watching is ETFI. So ETFI, it looks pretty shit, right, from the weekly, but they just sort of announced a buying back proposal for Treasury. So they're going to start buying back their own token, and this could be really, really interesting for this project. And the project is still this is when, you know, good projects, and what I think is a good project is because obviously they have the card. You can actually use your Ethereum to actually spend, and you can, you know, do staking, and then you can do real stuff with this. So that's probably why I'm interested in this, and that's why this could be a really interesting price to start buying this one, right? Have in mind, where's the risk on this one? If Ethereum drops, this one is going to drop as well, drastically. Okay, this one is going to go really down. But if this one goes down, this one is the first one that I might start buying, right? In terms of Ethereum betas, right? Because it does have good fundamentals coming through. So this is something that I'm watching closely. Pendle, same thing, but so Pendle and ETFI could be the Ethereum betas that I could play in case of you know, we get a big drop. Besides that, yeah, still watching a bunch of different ones, but yeah, nothing that, you know, I haven't done the full end of month analysis in all the stuff that I'm watching, so I might just yeah, during the week I'll be releasing more stuff that I might be interested in. So yeah, I think that's it, man.
Nice. Can you just remind us of what that indicator is that you use for those spaghetti charts
Yes.
for naming?
1 second. Text corner.
Text corner. Right stuff.
I think you can find it. Let me just 1 second. It's not showing my, okay, probably here. Yeah, it's called, if you, this is how you find it. Input text array to ITATATRT. So you go indicators, ITA is right here. Input text area, ITATAT. Oh no, that's I'll find it. I'll find the public one and I'll send it to you guys.
Input text area to array and then reshape.
Yes.
Okay, great stuff. All right, I've got that. I got that code screenshotted, so I'll add that to the recording.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah, that's it, guys. So I think nutshell, just, you know, be mindful where we at, right? Obviously today's first day of the month, but that doesn't mean that maybe institutions they're going to start getting positions. So I'll be willing to see if this level holds, and if it does, then that could be a really interesting buy, targeting, right, the 116. Are we going to break the 116? Who knows? That's probably, you know, something that we can have a look once we get there, in essence. And obviously, if we start getting this massive buying on Bitcoin, then alts are going to do pretty well. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Maurizio. have a great week and look forward to your updates, dude.
All right, guys, have a good day, and I'll see you during the week.
Ta-da.